Hey guys, in this video we're going to be painting this cute koala bear. Make sure you have your canvas out. I have an assortment of brushes, so you'll need brushes obviously. A jar of water to clean your brushes, and then I've got my plate with my colors on it. Also a towel just to dry your brushes off. And I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So I'm going to start with the background, and I'm going to work my way from bottom to top. So at the bottom we have like this purpley pink color, and to make that I'm going to use my smaller brush to mix the color. I'm going to take quite a bit of my red over here to the side because I might need some red for later, I'm not sure. And then just a little bit of blue and stir that in. So it's way more red than blue. Right now it doesn't look real nice. It kind of looks dark and dingy. And because I want it a lot lighter, just what I have on my brush here I'm going to start with, and I'm just going to start by stirring it in to some white. So now we're getting like this purpley kind of like fuchsia, but it's very pastel. So the shade is good, it's just too light. So I'm just gonna stir in more of that color because I want it a little bit more saturated. And I'll just keep adding more until it's where I want it. And a little bit more saturated. I probably started with way more white than I needed, but that's okay. Hard to mix colors holding your plate like this because everything's running. So I'm just going to keep stirring. I'm going to hold mine level just to keep my paint on my plate. I'm going to add a little bit more. And a little bit more. Once I get it around the right shade, I'll show you. I mean, I can hold it up here kind of level. I don't know if you can see that or not. But that's about right. It can be a little darker even. And then I'm just gonna start at the bottom, and a bigger brush would actually be better, but I'm just going to get this excess paint off my brush just so I don't waste it. And then I'll just stick that in my jar. And I'm gonna continue painting with that same color. And I'm gonna come right up and get all the way up to like the little leg here, going around this tree trunk and around the leaves. Just get this little section here. You see how a nice bright pinkish, it's fuchsia or magenta. I can never keep those two apart. I'm not sure which is which. I feel like fuchsia is maybe like more of a hot pink, where magenta is more like of a purpley pink, which would be this. I don't know. Not sure. I'm gonna paint this up to about here. So his leg comes down a little. And I'm just gonna get that background filled in to about that point. Just take your time. Nice thin even coat of paint. A smaller brush in that area would probably be better, but I'm just gonna do the best I can with what I have in my hand. Okay, so as I work up, I'm gonna start like fading into like more of a bright red here. I'm gonna use my smaller brush. I'm just getting that magenta color cleaned out. And just using red paint, I'll start maybe about right below where the tip of this leaf is. So I'm going to use just plain red. And I want it to match, so I want this line to match over here, because this is background, And I want it to match over here. So I'm gonna just kind of do my best to line it up. And right there, the background. And just fill in with red. And I'm gonna overlap here where the purpley color, that magenta, overlap this a little bit. And I'll just take a little bit of my, that's not it, my magenta color here, just to try to get that to fade and be more of a gradient. This little piece here, just this tiny little piece. And this little sliver here. Okay, so I'm gonna start making this red fade into orange. So I'm just gonna take the yellow on my dirty brush and start painting right next to it. I'm gonna just do this side, because by the time I get over there, this will be dry, and I want this to blend. So, kind of an overlap, and then work upward. Take a little bit more yellow on my brush. Because I've got so much red in my brush, it just naturally kind of blends into orange on the canvas. Just take your time. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. This one's a little bit more dry over here. I'm gonna try to keep this level. So my orange is a little yellowier over here because my red paint is dry. So just take a tiny bit of red on your brush. And then back with the yellow. And it blends out and makes this oranginess. Now, my line is very distinct. I'm gonna try to fade that. I'm just gonna take a little bit of red, a little bit more red on that, right on this line. Try to make it look a little bit more gradual. It's not really working. So we're just gonna love it the way it is. So next, it's just more yellow. And now we're gonna just be adding a little bit of white. So yellow and white. I still have a very dirty brush. We need this to be the same over here. So about like this. Yellow. Maybe a smidge of white. And I'm just gonna keep going upward. Yellow, my brush is filthy. Just some yellow. And it's really bright when you just first put it on. I just add white on my dirty brush, right over top, and work my way up. Just some yellow. Get some yellow. And you kind of want to keep it even, so my colors are going to match. This side is a lot yellowier. I try to get it yellowier over here. Okay. And then the rest, I'm gonna start with a nice clean brush this time, because I want that nice bright yellow, where this has like little bits of red mixed in, kind of still orangey. And I'm just going to come in with my bright yellow, this nice deep yellow color. And I'm just gonna get this on. And I'm also gonna be blending white in with it. So a little bit of white. And just repeat. You get your nice bright yellow. A little bit of white just to soften it a little. And just go all the way up. Nice bright yellow. And as I go up, I'm gonna add less white. So I want the very top to be nice and bright, where it's a little softer down here. I'm going to switch to my bigger brush just to fill in this big area. Sorry, I'm just getting my brush cleaned out. Got a lot of red in it. Just getting that out. Okay, so back over here, it's the same process. I'm just taking my yellow paint. I'm gonna get that on. Around his little head. Up to here. And then in this portion of the yellow, I'll mix some white. Just take a little white on your brush. Blend it through. And then at the very top, we're just gonna keep that nice and bright. It's not that much noticeable with the white. There, we got our whole background filled in. It's pretty, it's like a sunset, sunrise, not sure which you want to call it, but it's lovely. So next we're going to, let's see, I guess we're gonna do the tree stump, and that is a color that I don't have on my plate. Let's get some of that. We need A little bit of this Venetian red and a little bit of black. So when I showed you my plate in the beginning, don't stress that you didn't have these. I didn't have these colors and you do. This is my first time painting this, so I just kind of figure it out as I go, and then I know what you guys need. So to make brown, I'm gonna mix these two colors together. I want it to be kind of more of like a reddish brown, like if you like think of hair. It's gonna be more of this than black. Just take your brush, because I want it to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more orangey. I'm gonna take just a little bit of black and start stirring that in. See how it gets darker, it starts getting more of a brown color. I'll go a little bit darker. I just do a little at a time till I get it where I want it. It's easier to adjust when it's just slightly off than if you go too far one way or the other. So that looks pretty good to me. It does dry a little bit darker. Just make sure you mix up enough to fill in that whole trunk. My canvas is larger than yours, so you don't need as much as I do. That will probably get me through. If not, I'll just make more and I'll be okay with it not being exact. And I'm just gonna come in and paint this whole tree trunk thing. Bigger brush would probably be better, but I have this already on my brush and I don't wanna waste it. So like even a bigger brush leaves less brush strokes. Ideally, you want to use the biggest brush that you possibly can in any given space, just because of the whole brush stroke issue. The smaller brush just leaves more because you're making more strokes. And darker colors do tend to be a little streakier just because the coverage is more noticeable. Like you could see that white behind it greater because the contrast is greater. So if you're not happy with your coverage on your first coat, feel free to go in and give it another coat. Just a quick second coat makes a big difference. Probably should have done this little bitty area with my small brush while I still had it. I'm just taking my time. I'm so excited to see this one done. I think it's gonna be so cute. I got big plans. And koala bears are adorable. I think I'm gonna make him blue. I think he'll be cute blue. I think it'll look good with the colors of the background. I mean, maybe not realistic, but who needs it to be realistic? This is just a fun painting. It's the beauty of art. You can make things however you want them. So that's a little streaky down in here. Trying to get my edge. It's hard with this easel in my way. Now I'm just kind of going in and trying to minimize brush stroke appearance. I just take very light-handedly, just kind of start at an edge and then just brush up and not lift my brush. Okay, so I've got the trunk done. Next, I will paint my little koala bear. So let's mix up a pretty color for him. I think he needs to be like a real nice bright blue. So I'm gonna take, I got my blue here, and I do want to lighten it some. So nice scoop of white and just start stirring it in with a little bit of blue. The blue is very strong, so it doesn't take a lot to start, you know, getting a very nice vivid blue color with white. I need more. He's pretty big. I don't want to run out. I want to be able to fill in his whole body. I'm just adding more white because I want to stir in more blue so that I have a bigger pile. And it does dry darker. So right now is about the color I want it to be when it's dry. So I want to think ahead a little and go, oh, it's going to be darker when it's dry, so I better lighten it up now or it'll dry a lot darker. Maybe just a little bit more white. So that looks pretty good. Just a nice bright blue. And then just go in and start. I'll do around the outside. I'll like work on his head and just work my way down. So I'll get his head on. I'm gonna come around the ears, leave that inside spot open. We'll do that a different color later. And as I'm painting this, ideally I was like, oh, this would be great for kids, but I'm starting to think this one might be a little bit more advanced as far as, because we have all this color mixing and all that. I mean, kids will still do great. Kids do great at any of them, honestly. Just don't be stressing that it's perfect. You guys are all learning. And you do, the more you do these, the better you get at it, which is awesome. So if you did struggle with this, don't beat yourself up over it, like this kind of fade. I'm sure you did just fine. I'm gonna go around his little eyes. But yeah, I'll still offer this to all kids and everything, but I do think that this is a little bit more challenging than the rest that I've offered as far as, you know, the amount of steps and the amount of time it's actually going to take to finish it. So like attention spans might not get through the whole thing, just depending on age. So I've got this little arm. It's going to be painted the same color, but I don't want to lose that line, so I'm just going to do the head. And I'm not worried about the little mouth line. I'm just going to paint over that because I could put that back in later. That's easy. I'm going to get his nose shaped better. So there. Okay, so when I do the arm, I don't want to lose my line, so I'm just gonna make I'll start I'm just gonna lightly brush in the blue kind of in the middle of the arm. And then I'm just gonna take some white and blend it. And this is gonna make this arm just slightly lighter in color so we can see our edge. So you can see a distinct change from where the arm and the head meet. And but it's subtle. I just made it a little bit lighter by adding the white in. There. And I'll do the same just so they match. It'll just, for this little arm, regular blue, the blue we painted here, just plain, just kind of loose, roughly get some on. And then just take plain white on your brush, dirty brush. And you're just gonna blend that white in with the blue, and it just makes it slightly lighter. Which is perfectly good. Okay, so the belly and legs, I'm gonna do the same with this leg. The plain blue that we mixed up, I'll get that on just real rough. Just get some put on. Leaving my edge just because I just need a little on. And then I'm gonna brush white in with it, focusing kind of on this edge. Get it all spread out. And I just add more white to start filling in. I haven't been back to the blue yet. I'm just spreading out what I had on there. So up in here, I have this line I need to worry about. So I'm just gonna just scrape my brush a little, take a little bit of the blue, and right on the edge, I'm gonna make that bit just a little darker, so I could still see the arm shape a little bit. That's just to help us keep that line. And I'm gonna fill in nice solid, no white added in here, into the belly area. And I will be outlining these areas later, so it's not gonna look quite so goofy. Right now it looks a little goofy, but it'll get fixed. This little spot needs to be lighter. I lost his hip, I guess, if you will. So I'm just gonna fix that up a little. Just trying to keep this piece a little bit lighter. And this leg, I'll do the same. Some of the blue. And I wanted to match this one. Like, not perfect, but close. And then I'll just take plain white paint on my brush. And it lightens it up, and then I'll just get it all spread out and moved around. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that be for a little while. I'm gonna come over here and do leaves. So we gotta mix up some green. We're gonna want 2 shades of green. Maybe even 3, I'm not sure, we'll see. So I'm gonna take blue, mix it in with yellow. And I've got this kind of, I'm gonna make quite a bit because those leaves are pretty big. So I've got this shade of green. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it. This just helps it have better coverage. So I'm trying to keep my paint on my plate. Everything just oozes and flows around. Then, so these back leaves here, I'll do those darker green, this color green right here. So just go ahead and get these back leaves done first. I'm gonna add a little bit more white just so I get a little bit better coverage. So on my sloppy edges, the white will just help that cover. So I'm just taking white on my dirty brush and kind of scrape the excess green off. Just some white. And then that just helps it cover any mistakes better. It lightens it some, but not too drastically. And if you want to brighten it back up when it's dry, just put another coat of your green on. You probably even do it now. Let me just take more of the green. I'll darken it back up a little. Perfect. So this next one I want a little bit brighter. To make it a little brighter, I'm going to add quite a bit more yellow. Just to a small area here. So as you can see, this little spot that I stirred in more yellow is lighter than my original. And I'm going to add white. Then I need to stir in more of the green just to keep it green. And put it on. It looks almost identical. More yellow. There we go. Now you can see the difference. Oops, I just painted on him. That's okay. So this is a very yellowy green. These colors are looking really pretty together. I'm liking this a lot. I got that one. Come over here and get this one. Okay, so I've got my leaves. I'm gonna leave them be for now, let them dry, and I'm gonna come back to my little koala. I'm gonna paint the inside of the ears, and I'm going to use the same color that we painted down the bottom of the background. I got lots of that left on my plate. If you do not, it was red. There's quite a bit of red mixed in with just a little bit of blue and quite a bit of white. That was what made this color. And I'm just gonna use this to do the inside of the ears. I'll do it real kind of loose and then just take white and fill it and blend and push that color around to fill in the entire inside of the ear. Same with this one. Just put the purpley color, that magenta, on loose. Just pick up a little white on your brush and just get it spread out to fill in that whole little area. And this is just a small piece, so you need very little paint to start. You can get it spread out pretty easy. The eyes and the nose and the mouth that I painted over, but it's just a cute little lines. Those two things, well, eyes, nose, mouth, those three things are all going to be painted black. So I'm just cleaning out my brush. You're going to want to use a small brush and just a little bit of black. You can get your little eyes filled in. I probably should have used a smaller brush, but I'm doing all right. And the little nose, kind of an oval shape. And my itty bitty brush, same color, just some black. And I'm just gonna do the little swoops for the mouth. Next I'm gonna go in and do some outlining. I'm gonna outline in white just to kind of change things up. I usually use black, but I think that because it's such a bright, the colors are nice and bright and vivid, I think some white instead will make it kind of like a highlight outline. So using a small or medium brush, you're just going to use white paint. On mine, I've not been too careful to keep it clean, and that has pink all up under it. And I am a very big shortage for white, so I really should have been more careful. I'm going to try to just be careful where I dip to get nice clean white. I'm going to go around the top of the ears here, around the top of the head. So just kind of real lightly come down around the head, go around the ears. Just get his little arm. Yeah, I like this white. Oh, I just dipped in blue. hard time with my white paint. Okay, got some. I'm gonna get around this little back here. It's just a small spot. And I've got his leg. And get this little leg. And where else? This little spot by his belly. And this upper arm. Let's see, do we have any spots still that I think need a little bit more? I feel like this white is not as bright as it should be. I'm just going over this again, just so that it shows up a little bit better. Let's put some little fur in. I'm using my smallest brush here. And just give him some little fur spots. Some clean white here on my plate. Let's make sure my video is still going. I think so. Got a notification in the way there at the top. Plug it in too. I forgot to plug it in. Okay. Plugged in. Back to what I was doing. Sorry. Just a little bit of white paint on my small brush, and I'm gonna go through and just maybe some little dash marks on the belly, and some little furs. Just to give him some texture, some little details, a little more interest. Maybe some little fuzz coming off his arms or something somewhere. Let me check it out. Oh, maybe just a little fur coming here. Maybe he needs a little fur off this elbow. That's cute. Those little knees. Maybe it's not knees. Or maybe just like a little fur there. Off the side of his little legs. So I have my little brush and the white paint. I'm going to put the little reflective light spots in the eyes. And they're on the right hand side, kind of at the top. And then maybe a little swoop down the nose. I think next all we really need to do is maybe add some veins in the leaves to give them a little bit more interest. And for that, I'm just gonna make my green darker, and to make my green darker, I'm gonna add more blue. So in this darker green area that I have, I'm just gonna take some blue, stir that in. See how nice and dark that turns? Maybe a little bit of white in it. We've got this nice green. And I'll just go down the center of my leaves. Put this one. And then I'll put some veining off. So just some like little lines. That one looks good. I use my bigger brush just because this little guy just doesn't hold very much paint. Oh, here, I need to make a little bit more. So there, pretty good. And just again, just this line down. And then go ahead and add some veining. This one. Oh, that one got a little weird. That's okay. Not all leaves are created equal. So there, I got my leaves. I think I'm pretty well done. Maybe he needs some little claws? Sure, let's give him some little claws. Small brush, just a little black paint, and we'll give him some little toenails. So like three on each. So here, let's do 1, 2, 3. With this one, 1, 2, 3. And then this little toes, 1, 2, 3. They're cute. Oh, I like them. 1, 2, 3. All right, I think I'm done. I like it. I don't see anything that really missing anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign it. I don't know what color. Maybe just some white paint down here. Get my name on there. Like white. I like to stir a little water into my paint when I sign, just because it gives it better flow. Anytime you have like thicker paint, you can always add water in. And that helps the flow, which just means that it moves easier on the canvas. It's thinner. Okay, so when you guys are finished, take pictures. I love seeing your finished work. I have a post pinned to the top of my Facebook page, Willy-Nilly. Just upload there and I check them out. I love them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.